I said, knowledge and experience means nothing if it's not shared. And that's what we're doing. Don't think about what people necessarily want. It's a combination of what they want, plus what you're good at, plus what you love, and what people are willing to pay for. Because inevitably, you're going to have to make some money. I had to cut the ties to comfort. Comfort is the kiss of death. If you're in a comfortable zone, you're not really going to want to pursue anything extra. You're not really going to do anything less, but you're definitely not going to do anything more. And so what I, teach myself as well as coach other individuals is you need to get just beyond that comfort zone, not way far beyond the comfort zone, just on the next side of the comfort zone line. When you create stuff without an expectation. You can have a goal, but no expectation.
Hi, Daniel. I'm so excited to have you. For people who don't know who Daniel is, who you are, what's your elevator speech? Like, who do you say, hi, I'm? Like, what do you do?
Hi, I'm Daniel. And that's pretty much where I start. And then usually when they say, hi, Daniel, I say, hey, well, no, I guess it's really interesting how I've never really worked on a pitch or an elevator or like, who am I? And it's like, hey, let me give you 15 seconds of exactly what I do. It's at the end of the day, I do what I love. That's really what it is. And I love helping creators to get beyond their tech challenges. I love to help creators to really focus on their art of creation rather than the art of management on the technical side. So of course, there's always going to be a little bit of that, but at the end of the day, whether it's to help them to up the ante in terms of their video quality, their audio quality, or if it's to help them to develop their tech stack in terms of how they can host their video content or create their online courses, it's like, this is how I teach them. And the key is simplicity. That's really what it comes down to. So I just get people to do what they need to do in the most simplest of way, yet have the greatest amount of impact possible and make lots of money at the same time.
But your setup is not simple. I've seen one of your lives where you literally walked us through your setup. And I was like, I had such tech envy. It was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Number one, you have all the bells and whistles. And I know not everybody needs that, right? You don't need to start with all the bells and whistles that Daniel has. But I was shocked about how much stuff you have. I was like, oh my God, I want all this stuff. The coolest part is that you had a tech issue. And I don't remember if you remember this, like Zoom, like you were live streaming on YouTube and then you were live streaming on Zoom and something happened with the live stream on Zoom. So instead of you like panicking and freaking out, or maybe you were internally, you showed everybody, okay, this is what's happening. That stuff happens. This is how you deal with it. And I was like so relieved because I think I come from this place of, because my background's TV and radio. As a producer, like everything has to be perfect. And I was so relieved to see like, oh God, even Daniel has hiccups. And this is how you deal with them. Instead of freaking out, you show people, okay, this is what's happening. Do those moments freak you out, or are you so used to like the tech glitches that like it's really how you react that makes the difference?
Definitely, in no matter what it is, it's always how you react, right? Actually, more importantly, to actually how you respond to those issues. I actually feel more nervous and more anxious before going live rather than when something doesn't go right, because I know what to expect when something doesn't go right, because I have that technical skill, I have that knowledge, I have that ability to create, to make it better out of when chaos starts to occur, right? So with the live producer playbook, yes, something big happened, and I said, okay, wait, guys, stay here, let me try this, boom, 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 and nobody, we didn't skip a beat, we didn't get kicked out of Zoom, we didn't do anything like that. So, but that's just because of the level of where I'm at. Now, in terms of the tech stuff, I got gear acquisition syndrome. So everybody's thinking, he got gas. Why is he admitting that on this podcast? It's gear acquisition syndrome. I love tech. I love gadgets. I love gear. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'll buy it. I want that. I want that. And what I do is I immerse myself in this world because number one, it's a passion, but number two, because clients, friends, family, colleagues, they come and ask, hey, have you ever tried this or that. And I'll say, you know what? I actually did. Actually, I have it right here and so forth. So I kind of do it that way as well. So it's just to increase my knowledge and expansion of what's out there. However, when I build or design studios for clients, I actually determine what are their needs. What do they want to look for? And what are their skill sets? Because I don't design it for me, I design it for them. And so if I know that they're very low on the scale in terms of technical abilities, then I say, okay, great. I know that you're looking for this. However, let's go down here because, and then I explain the reasons why. So it's everybody's at a different level, and I will help them wherever they are at.
Well, and my studio is a walk-in closet. It's a converted walk-in closet. So to me, it's proof that you don't even have to have a studio space. A quiet space is nice, right? Like you could do it in a closet with clothes if you have to, and you can do it with your iPhone. You don't have to go to like the level of Daniel. It's just the amount of things that you can do during a live stream. Like the camera with the other camera, I was just like, oh my God, I want this so bad. But I don't even have a 6-foot depth. Like that's the wall right there. Right. So I made do with what I had. I just put lights back there and I was like, this is what we can do. And I think a lot of people, before they even start, get so caught up in looking at other creators and what they're doing and feel like, oh, I have to be at that level. And I tell clients all the time, no, you have to start somewhere, right? Like being at that level and then still creating with nobody, no audience. You didn't build a community. You're launching to nobody. Don't put any money into anything yet. Just do the thing. Exactly. Know that you can do the thing. So talk to me about helping clients that not everybody can do what you do. Not everybody can live stream. Not everybody has that personality, and you know it. Some people just, I think, are just like not capable of doing it to this level. Have you ever had to tell a client like, hey, maybe let's find a different way to create content? Or have you been able to coach anybody through anything?
Able to coach anybody through anything. And I do believe that everybody can create content. I believe that everybody can live stream. And it's just a matter of following standard operating procedures, following these certain steps that I give you literally in written format to say step 1, step 2, step 3. It's like click here, go. Right. And when you're done, click there. So I think it's like, well, let me actually address this one thing that you said. A lot of people say, oh my gosh, I want that. Oh, I can never reach that. Or I could, that type of stuff. And it's understandable. I've been there. I've done that. I've got the t-shirt basically saying, yes, I get that. However, what I've really, really found and what I've actually lived my life through is understanding this concept is that comparison is the thief of joy. And so what I would encourage everybody who's watching or listening is like, if you're seeing something that you like or something that somebody else is doing that you're like, oh my gosh, I want that. I want you to, first off, never say, I can never have that. I don't think I can ever do that. I want you to say, I'm going to write that down. And then somewhere along the way, along your path of being a content creator, that may come across where it's like, oh, I didn't realize how easy that was. Because if you set yourself up for failure, you're going to fail, right? But going back to the whole part about helping my clients at no matter what level they're at, I think that's part of the conversation that I have with them is that, hey, listen, it's okay. Have these great visions and ideas of what you want, because if you can create it in here, I know that if you have the level of passion that you will do anything to create that level of quality or production, you will do them no matter what it takes. Right. So I think that's the conversation that I do have with clients. It's like, just give me your biggest ideas and concepts. And then I'll tell you based on my conversation with you, okay, well, based on that, there is, it's a 7 out of a 10 complexity. However, I think what we need to do is we need to start out at a 3 out of a 10. However, what we're going to do is we're going to design it and work it in a way that you can get up to that 7 out of 10 in the next year or two. The thing you have to promise me is that you're going to continuously work on your improving 1% a day. You're going to go live once a week. You're going to create content continuously, and you and I will stay in touch on a regular basis. And that's really what's worked.
Well, and that continuity is what makes the difference. What I was trying to get at is not everybody is as dynamic as you, right? You have a personality, like you're very good at doing this. Not everybody is that dynamic. Does that make sense? So like, yes, we can do the thing. However, you're at a different level because you've been doing it so much longer. So I feel like that consistency and keep doing it is number one. And then number two, there's also different ways to do this. If you don't want to be face to camera, you can do it a different way where it's just voiceover and graphics if you want to. I think that's a whole thing that like people who are so scared of being on camera, or they don't feel like when they're on camera, they can be as dynamic as Daniel. There's other ways to create where you don't have to be face to camera. Have you ever walked a client through that process where it's like, we don't have to do it this way?
Yeah, 100%. Faceless videos are very, very popular these days. There are just some personality traits that people have where it's just, they cannot shine when they have this, little black circle that's facing them, and then they have to, they just don't have that level of confidence just yet. So, and it's totally fine. However, I do believe that at some point in time, you really are going to have to get in front of that camera. You are going to have to show your face. I don't know if my wife is going to listen to this, and if she does, sorry, Bubby. But she is amazing at what she does. She is an acupuncturist and traditional Chinese medicine practitioner. She's been practicing for over 2 decades. She is probably one of the best at what she does in her craft. And I keep telling her, you got to create some videos. You got to create some videos. You got to create a course. You got to do that for 2 decades. And she has not. I just built her a camera system about a month and a half ago. And I mean, this is a really bang up camera system, but easy to use, which is actually the key. And so she just started creating content a couple of weeks ago. And so it's just a matter of time, I think. And the other thing is this, it's like, yes, so if you look at Daniel and you're like, oh my gosh, he's so dynamic, he speaks so well, he does this, he does that. That's because that's 30 years of doing this type of stuff. I've been speaking on stages. I've been speaking in front of people. I've been doing presentations. I've been just engaging. So it took a lot of practice, and it's continuous. It's not like, oh, I'm done. I'm already at the pinnacle of where I'm at. Heck no. I'm still improving myself. I still look at other creators and I'm like, I want to be like that, where you can actually do a live stream and look at the chat without reading the actual words that you're reading. Right? Like I know some creators who can literally look at the chat and they're reading it in their mind, yet they're still having the conversation on another thread. It's like, how do you do that? Well, Daniel doesn't know how to do that. And that's okay. At some point in time, I will get that as I continue to do live streams. But having said that, not everybody has to be dynamic. What you have to be is authentic. And that's what comes through. And when you're authentic, it doesn't matter if you're dynamic or if you're low dynamic, right? Like maybe you talk a little bit more slowly, and maybe you're just a little bit more soft and gentle in your conversations. And that's totally okay too. Because I'll tell you right now, that's the stuff that my wife listens to. And these people have hundreds of thousands of followers, and they're not AKA dynamic. They're just authentic.
Well, I also think that if the information's there and it's valuable, it doesn't matter how it's delivered, right? Like it could just be on your iPhone while you're walking and talking. As long as you're giving value, people will still listen. Let's talk about your life pre-streaming. Talk to me about...
Can I go back to one thing about what you just said? There is one critical thing that you do need, though.
Oh God, what?
It's like you can be authentic and you can be knowledgeable and expert and have expertise in your area. However, if you have crappy audio, it's not going to work. That's it.
I'm an audiophile. I know you are too. Because my background's TV and radio. So to me, if it doesn't sound right, and I think a lot of people don't understand, like this microphone for the iPhone is meant to be here. So do not put it on a tripod 5 feet away from you and then start talking. I die. Just get a mic. It's fine. There are so many mics
designed. Yeah, your smartphone is designed to be arm's length away. That's where the microphone, optimal is. And the closer it is, obviously, the better it is. But yeah, I just had to say that because you can't just record for the sake of recording. You do have to put a little bit of effort into creating something of quality. Now, in terms of the camera, you don't have to have a great camera. But your audio is going to be key. So sorry, I just had to say that.
Well, and lighting from a window, if you don't want to buy lights, window lighting is the best. You don't need a lot, but I do like good audio too. I'm obsessed with it.
Absolutely.
So talk to me about pre-streaming. Before you became a streamer, you had a whole other life. And we're going to, I guess, work backwards through time. Unless you want to start at 13 years old being a photographer and work forwards through time. How do you want to start? What makes more sense?
I was born very young. And
I was born very young. Let's talk about it. You've been creating content in different formats. You told me when you were a young kid, you started photography. You picked up a camera.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk
I just
about it.
always loved the photographic side of things. And in high school, I guess it was an outlet for me because I had a lot of troubles at home, and grew up in a very tough, aka abusive family, and I still would not trade it for the world. So if anybody thinks that I'm crapping on my parents, I'm actually not. I actually thank them for raising me in that kind of an environment, because it wasn't about me; it was about the circumstances that they were having at the time. But I really loved taking photos of live theater, the school plays. And I took photos and I just realized, wow, I'm actually pretty good at it. Got into developing photos by myself in a dark room. I'm not sure if anybody listening knows what those are, but we used to actually print our own photos and go into a dark room with a red light. And I did black and white photography back then. And it got to a point where people actually said, "Hey, you're pretty good. Can I pay you to take photos of me?" And so I did a little bit of fashion stuff as well. And I was actually making money taking photos of people at age 16, which is phenomenal. And so that whole side, moves into videography. And I have my old, I forget, it's like a mini DV cassette video player, a video
Yes.
recorder. Started playing with those, and just, it's like I just had a lot of fun creating all of those pieces. And in terms of, when my wife and I got married, we just had all of our friends use their video cameras, and I gave out video cameras to people. I said, just record this. And then we just grabbed all the tapes, and on an old iMac. I don't know if you remember those candy colored iMacs.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
we
They were
used
bigger too.
we
Like
used
they had like
iMovie.
that. Oh my God. Yes.
Oh, that whole bulbous thing, right? It just,
Bulbous.
I mean, they were amazing, but they had a handle on it. You could transport it wherever you wanted to. Um, but I mean, and that's where I kind of got into the video editing side and created a really lovely wedding video for my wife and myself. And we gave that out to all of our family and friends, and they're like, "This is from the video we all made." Yes, it is. Isn't it good? And yeah, it was. So that kind of started the journey, and that was almost 3 decades ago. And since then, it's really always been about technology. Now, back in 2004, 2005, I did move into the space of health and wellness, in specifically for myself into the nutrition side. So we opened up a clinic in Toronto, and I essentially was really good at what I did from that perspective, from the health and wellness coaching side of things. But there was always this live streaming part. There was always this videography and technology part that was inside of me. And so I incorporated as much of that as possible in our productions at the clinic. Um, and then this little thing called a pandemic happened in 2020, and little thing in air quotes. It's like all of a sudden we realized that we had to shut down our clinic, and I was eating about $40,000 a month of an expenses, just to continuously pay for rent, which I was not allowed to open the doors to continuously pay labor, which nobody was working. And so I was eating so much that my wife and I decided, hey, I think it might be time for a little bit of a shift in our lives. We had focused on the company so much that our children were raised in the company, and it's like, would we take it back? There's parts of us that would like to take that time back and say, let's spend more time with the family and the kids, but we know we can't do that. So we said, hey, you know what? It's about time. And so we sold off our assets. And my wife, she continuously practices, but she's renting an office from the people that we sold it to. And I moved into the streaming world and the content creation world, and just said, okay, I'm going to help other people to do all of this type of stuff. And I had a few clients in the like 2015, 2017 area where I helped them on their technology side of things. But as of 2020, it's like, okay, I'm going to dive into this world of live streaming because this is just insane. And that's when it all started. So it just started really powering the back end of a lot of these business and entrepreneurs that were very successful, helping them with their live streams, helping them with their live productions to, in some cases 70 to 90,000 people, and it's like, these are huge, huge productions. And here I am, on my Mac, and it's like, I'm pretty good at this. And I still don't have a website or social media presence, and I think I'm doing pretty good. And I've just loved that ever since. So I'm really, really deep into and involved in the Ecamm Live community, into helping people with their roadcasters and their microphones and their cameras. And it's just this area that's just like, when you find that one thing that you really love to do and you could just do it forever. I found it, and that's the thing. It's like if you are thinking about getting into content creation or developing courses or live streaming or what have you, if you're thinking about that, I really want to encourage you to do it because you're passionate about the topic that you want to share. I just did a 1 week training over in Boston for Ecamm Live at their creator camp and got to speak to 5 different groups of 20. And we ran into a little bit of a hiccup. My training partner, Alec, unfortunately, we had designed this whole tech production piece to train people how to increase their Zoom presence, from a technical side. And unfortunately, Alec had to go back to Thailand, where he lives, in an emergency because his son went to hospital. And so all of a sudden, my tech guy, like he brought all the tech. I didn't bring any of the gear.
Oh my God.
He was gone.
Daniel.
And I couldn't teach things anymore.
Oh
and I was teaching the next day, like because I was teaching on Wednesday, but he had to leave on Tuesday. Or sorry, Monday late night, and I found out on Tuesday morning. And I was like, okay, I can panic, I can run. And a lot of people said, hey, if you want to cancel your session, you can do that. And I was like, no, I'm not going to cancel the session. I do need to pivot though. And so I realized that presentation is not just about technology. And so I really talked about storytelling. I talked about the passion of sharing your knowledge and your skills. And there was one quote that I said to everyone. I said, knowledge and experience means nothing if it's not shared. And that's what we're doing. So to all those people who are looking to start a new journey, either as a side gig or as a full-time, thing, and you're like, okay, I'm going to create content. Don't think about what people necessarily want. It's a combination of what they want, plus what you're good at, plus what you love, and what people are willing to pay for. Because inevitably, you're going to have to make some money. And
that's where.
And so anyway, that was part of the story of what I shared. It's been a phenomenal journey.
That's amazing. The making the money part's where I fail. I'm great at the creator part.
You erase that. You're gonna.
I know.
Delete.
Yet. Yeah. I haven't been able to monetize it to the level that I had hoped to yet. What I've got is the storytelling. What allowed me to get in front of the camera and finally start talking, because I was behind the camera for so long, was realizing my story is not just for me. It's for the person that's going to hear it and that can relate to it and learn something from it. So that was great. We got through phase 1 of like, just turn the camera on and do the thing. Phase 2 now is doing more face to camera. I was great at doing voiceovers and vlogs. I could do the podcast thing. I figured all that out. For some reason, the next fear is just the face to camera. Just turn the camera on and talk. I don't know why. Trying to figure that out internally. Like, what is it in me that feels like I can't just be my authentic self and do the thing? Why do I feel like I have to do the production of the vlog and the edits and the fast-paced spiral? And then the next thing is I just want to be able to create. I don't want to have to worry about the marketing. Like, you have this great marketing funnel. What you do is amazing. It's incredible. I am not even at that point yet where I can even think of like, how do I want to monetize this and how do I get to that next step, which is what you help people do, which is why I think it's so important to have a Danielle on your team, because you can help get us to that next level. I'm scared of marketing myself. Did you like immediately when you decided, okay, I'm going to do this live stream thing, like how did you get to that next point of like, okay, now I have to sell? I can't get to that point.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in like create.
Well, you haven't yet.
I'm a creator.
You haven't yet.
Yet.
So as I had mentioned earlier, it's like I power the systems for so many different mega entrepreneurs. And when I mean mega, I mean like folks who are making 15, 20, 30, $80 million a year.
But was this their word of mouth? Did you find them? Did they find you? How
Absolutely
did that
word
happen?
of mouth.
Okay.
100% word of mouth, and it's because I'm so involved in the communities that I am in. So in the Ecamm Live community and all of these other online communities, it's like, because I'm so involved there, people know who I am. And sometimes people will actually say, "Hey, I have a client, or I have a friend, or I have a whatever who has this project, can anybody assist, or can anybody, answer some questions about it?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And I do that aspect at no charge. It's just like the discovery call. And I'll determine whether or not it's something that I'm passionate about to help this person, and whether this is a project that's going to, I guess for me, it's going to be a growth thing as well. Because I don't just do projects just for making money. I do projects because I'm going to learn some new things, or I'm going to be able to apply some new things as well that I've already tested with clients. And so that's kind of what I've been doing for a good number of years. And then it was only about a few 5, 6, 7 months ago when I decided, you know what? I'm going to change this. I'm actually going to create my own brand. And that was not easy for me because I would say, I'm not a very outgoing person on social media. In fact, I really am just a social media stalker. I never really made any posts for myself. And now I'm still in that process where I'm struggling internally and externally, trying to figure out how this social media game works. I mean, Instagram, you got to do 30 posts a week to have a decent, channel. And it's like, I don't have time for that. Bye bye, Instagram. YouTube. Okay, one video a week. I can create a video a week. And I was doing that consistently until I went to Boston for a little bit, and then realized it's like, okay, it's fun. However, I want to create more impactful videos a little, moving forward. So I'm going to put a little bit more thought and effort into that. But I think at the end of the day, what's kind of gotten me to that point is I had to cut the ties to comfort. And I'd actually discussed this the other day with someone where, so comfort is the kiss of death. If you're in a comfortable zone, you're not really going to want to pursue anything extra. You're not really going to do anything less, but you're definitely not going to do anything more. And so what I, teach myself as well as coach other individuals is you need to get just beyond that comfort zone, not way far beyond the comfort zone, just on the next side of the comfort zone line. And what does that mean to you? Well, for me, that was knowing that, okay, I already have a cushy revenue source coming in from all of these other different clients, and it's great. And if I want to build my own brand, I need to get uncomfortable. And so over a course of a few months, I released all of my clients and transferred them to other people. And all of a sudden, Daniel's making $0.
Daniel, are
Yeah,
you kidding me?
no, sometimes that's what you got to do. You
But
got
the
to jump out of
parallel
the
is
nest.
so weird because I literally stopped taking on clients because I was like, I just have to focus on this brand. So we're in a very similar space. I just have a couple clients I need to finish out. But oh my God. So then what's next? Tell me more. What are we doing next?
Well, it's developing relationships, and so I do have revenue coming in from some of the programs and the coaching programs that I've got, but there's no clients per se that pay me on a monthly basis. And so, you're talking about the funnels, and it's like I'm working on those aspects and developing relationships with many different organizations that are either hardware suppliers or software developers, and developing those relationships with them, letting them know that I can create value for them by giving their products or recommending their products and their services to other people. And by doing that, the other people get, number one, quality products and services, because I don't just take anyone on. Number two, they're going to get that knowledge and that support and that at least that little bit of a boost from the beginning from me directly when they're purchasing those products and their services, and they're not spending anything extra. And so I've been doing that for the past few months where I've been developing those relationships, and it's been going quite well. It's not making the kind of money that I was making before, but thankfully I have another coaching company that I've been running for a little bit over a year and a half now, where it's like that revenue is coming in from there because I started that a while ago. So again, these aren't clients per se that are where it's like multi-$1,000, per month clients. These are, you know, $200 here, $200 there kind of a thing. So very, very little.
So is the goal to build the Daniel Chi brand to then get sponsorship and brand deals and then affiliate marketing as well, correct? And then
Yes.
what is the passive income stream? Is it courses and webinars on how to do the thing?
Yeah.
Like, is that how you sort of see the building blocks of the Daniel Chi brand?
Yeah, definitely courses and training programs, so live webinars and such like that. So that'll be like the one-offs every months of the year. And however, the long-term strategy really comes down to the referral marketing side of things, where it's like, listen, if I can support 1,000 content creators and help them get from where they are to actually selling their content and their courses online, I know that by helping 1,000 of them, if they stay with me for even 6 or 12 months, that I've created a significant amount of revenue for myself from those companies that have said, thank you, Daniel, for bringing these people on board and actually getting them to use our product successfully. Because when people use a subscription product, you're either going to make money using it or you're just going to be wasting your money. And people who waste their money, they unsubscribe from that platform anyway. But my thing is to help merge and bring together customers and vendors and helping them build that relationship so that it's strong and that those customers are supported all along the way. And I will get paid from those vendors. And it's I would say it's a really good start. We're actually doing quite well with that.
Well, and tech is a great niche, and it's one of the highest grossing and payouts for sponsorships and brands is tech. It's huge.
Yeah.
Beyond the beauty industry, beauty industry and tech are the two biggest for sponsorships and brand deals. So I'm proud of you for
Yeah.
doing the hard thing and betting on yourself. It's such a hard moment to bet on yourself. Like to explain to my husband, like, okay, so I'm going to stop all this. There's going to be $0 coming in and I'm going to start building a personality brand. Is like, great. Like, awesome.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
easy. At least you were probably had a foot in both, right? Like still had a foot in monthly clients, still had a foot in like, especially with eCam and a lot of the tech stuff that you review, you're not dumb.
Mhm.
You wouldn't pivot completely from zero like I am.
Well, I mean, in a way, it kind of was, but in a way, it kind of wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But like from those regular clients that were just paying, again, like nice sums of money every single month, while they're gone, it's kind of at the end of the day, I just needed to be able to focus, as you said, focus on myself and really deliver and hit those milestones that I've set for myself. Because I know, and maybe you're like this, maybe you're not, I don't know. But I know for myself, I will go to the end of the world for someone else. I will, literally work tireless hours in the middle of the night for somebody else so that they can win. And I've been doing that for so many years. In fact, one of the clients that I'd worked with back in the 2015, 2017 time, helped them to get from several 100,000 revenue to several $1 million in revenue in a matter of 3 years. And, I had nothing to show for it. It's like, but I worked crazy hours and gave them all of these ideas and understandings and systems and processes and technology. And, it's like there was nothing for me at the end of the day. And it's like, okay, I think I've got to change this. And that's where I'm at right now, where it's like, I need to, and don't get me wrong, I've always been making good money. However, at the end of the day, it's like, I still need to build this big thing for myself. Why? Not for me, but for my kids, for the people that I'm working with, to be able to show them that you can do this. Let me just show you how. And I may be 2 steps ahead of you. I may be 10 steps ahead of you. Regardless of what that is, it's like I've worked with so many people and had that experience. I'm willing to share that with you. Want to come on the journey? And a lot of people have said yes. So that's great.
So before people can think about courses and passive income and brand deals and sponsorships, they really just have to take that first step. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost is like, oh, I have to do all these things. No, like you have to show that you can show up for yourself. How long do
Exactly.
you tell people like be consistent for X amount of time, a month, weeks, or put out X number of videos, then let's have that conversation. How many do you think like
Yeah.
we need to push out before we can then evaluate, look at the analytics and decide, do we even like doing this? That's the other thing. You may start and be like, God, I don't want to do this anymore. And this is not what I thought it was. It's hard work.
Yeah.
It's 24 hours a day. Is there a time frame, a number of videos that you think people should hit before they even consider sponsorship, brand deals, courses, passive income?
I don't think there really is a time frame or an analytic that would say now is the time. As I had mentioned, it's like I just started the social media side. I just started creating YouTube videos back in August, and right now we're at the beginning of November. So September and October. So 2 months in, I've only got 217 subscribers, but all of my videos have between 200 and 1,000 views, which is huge for a 200 subscriber channel. And so if you look at those vanity metrics, it's like you would say, oh, this is a small creator. However, because of the quality of what I've created and because of the relationships that I've developed along the pathway of my journey, vendors have already come out to me and say, we want you to review these products. And so they're literally shipping me products to be able to review, which I love because that means I don't have to spend money on those
Right.
other pieces, right? And it's one of the perks of being a content creator. And I love that. And it's not like, oh, I want to build a relationship because I want this piece of gear. I want to build a relationship because I like your products. I want to build a relationship because I think that my followers can actually benefit from using your products. I think that we can find out how to build that as a solution for individuals. And we talk about, varying levels of the technology as well. It's not like I'm, just saying, hey, everybody needs to buy $1,000 camera. It's not like that. But for me, it was very quick. Why? Because people can see that I'm passionate about what I do, right? Or at least I think they can see that.
You're also
And
knowledgeable.
it's like, okay.
You're not just like reading the tech specs. You're actually utilizing the product, and you are an expert in your industry. Does that make sense? I think some people just like, let's unbox this and go through the specs, and then it's like, no, it's not what they want. How you do it is so good. I'm so glad people are noticing it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. It's so having said that, it doesn't matter. It's not about how long do you need to be doing things. It's about just do things. Okay. Just do things and it's kind of weird. I'm going to say this and I mean this in a very specific way. When you create stuff without an expectation. You can have a goal, but no expectation. And the reason why is because if you have an expectation, it's kind of like developing a relationship with you, Rachel. It's like if I just go to you and I'm like, I'm building this relationship with you because I'm expecting something back. That's actually very selfish and it's not growth based. It's not a growth mindset. And so, I'm doing this because I love sharing. I love creating content and I love what you're doing. And you and I hit it off in our first meeting a couple of months ago. And it's just like, okay, we totally are in sync with each other.
I love you. This is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what this world is about. So, it's funny thing is at Creator Camp, there were about a total of about 120, 130 people there. And I had asked everybody, sorry, not I actually, somebody else asked the question. It's like, no, it was me. Sorry. How many are introverted? 2/3 of the group put up their hand and they said they were introverted. And it's like, how can 2/3 of all these people be introverted, yet they're all content creators?
I say I'm an introverted extrovert.
Yeah. You're an introverted extrovert, not an extroverted introvert?
No.
I've never heard that one. Yeah. It's like, content creation and creating stuff on camera, either face or faceless, has really helped a lot of people to come out of their shells. And I think that the industry of content creation and, online courses and live productions has definitely skyrocketed in the last number of years. I really do think it's going to continue to skyrocket, and we haven't even hit the hockey stick yet. I think it's going to become exponential as times continue to change. I'm not going to lie. I think the economy has been having some troubles over the past couple of years, and I'm not blaming anyone. I'm basically just saying is there's struggle and challenge happens in everybody's lives at the individual levels to teach you something. It's a gift. It's something that you need to look at and say, okay, what can I take from this and grow? So whether, your grocery bill has tripled, or whether your car maintenance and your car, costs have increased, whatever that is, it's like, what are you supposed to do in your life to grow from that, to learn from that? And how can you incorporate that into part of your passion or your skill or your knowledge to start sharing that with other people? So it's like, how does the cost of eggs and the cost of gas relate to my content creation? Well, that's a really good question. It's something I'm going to have to think about. But I feel this is that I know that it's not about the lack, right? I know that to have an abundant mindset is to consider and think about the expense side of things. However, you know that you have to expense things in order to get things. So let's talk about it from a non-monetary perspective. In order for you to be physically healthy, you need to move. So you're using up energy. You're using up the glucose that you're bringing into your body to get your muscles to work so that your muscles can maintain and get stronger over time. And then as we age, you need to expend a little bit more in the weight management, like the weight training side of things, right? In order to manage your bones and all that type of stuff. So that's just a biological analogy of like, you need to expend things in order to be able to gain things in the end. And so that's how I would link the cost of eggs and the cost of gasoline to content creation. It's like, listen, you're going to have to eat anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And if your gas is too expensive, you can at least do something about that. But let's not travel, and let's not eat, right? How can you think of it from the perspective of how do you create more? And I think at the end of the day, we have to think about it from this, think with the end in mind. So my son is 19 years old and he's got a girlfriend. They're very serious. They're talking about marriage, and that's great. And it's like, okay, son, what you need to do is you need to figure out what you're going to do to make money. And he goes, yeah, he's got all these different ideas. And I said, okay, well, let's now move forward a little bit more. Do you want a house? Yes. Do you want a car? Yes. Do you want kids? Yes. Do you want a dog? Yes. Do you want a white picket fence? Yes. Do you want all this stuff? Yes. Okay, great. All right. In about 10 years, you're going to need to make this much in order to do that. What's that mean? And, so we work on that financial side, and all of a sudden it's like, you cannot work a low income position, right? An entry level position. Not saying and putting down grocery clerks, but that's an entry level position, right? So that kind of makes a minimum wage. And that's totally okay if your expenses aren't crazy. But the way that my son wants to live his lifestyle,
Right.
like
Exactly.
you can't be a grocery clerk. And so it's like, on your content creation journey, if you're going to cut your ties at some point, I'm not saying you should, I'm just saying for me, it works. But if you want to switch and transition and make money off your content creation, you need to figure out how are you going to make that money and how much do you need to make? And then from there, work backwards to say, this is how much volume I need to develop, and how many followers or customers I need to have. And I've developed that in my mind. So that's why I said 1,000 customers. That's literally the actual number of my goal in the next 12 months, is to get 1,000 customers, because the amount of revenue from that is a very good amount of revenue. And it's like, it's a residual, which is what I'm really looking for in the long term.
So the greatest thing with where we're at right now is that you don't have to go to Hollywood to pitch an idea anymore. And I think live streaming, I used to be in live TV. I used to be in live radio. I feel like live streaming is going to go beyond courses, and already has, and into entertainment. We are our own brands. We're our own networks. We've put entertainment into our own hands. Is there a learning curve? Yes. Is there some money that you have to invest in your network? Yes. However, the way that YouTube has become, literally has taken on Netflix and Hulu as an entertainment streaming platform where people are watching CTV on their TVs in their living rooms together, is fascinating to me. And I've always felt like it was going to get this way. Always felt like there were going to come a time where I don't have to pitch to Fox, to CBS, to Netflix or Hulu. I'm going to be able to make content and pitch it to my own audience. And I love that that's where we're at. And that's sort of how I see me using live streaming, as sort of like the talk show version of my brand. Does that make sense? And so, do you see yourself getting into that? Or do you see yourself sticking with like courses and the type of content that you're already doing? Because I do feel like, again, being the dynamic person that you are, a behind the scenes with Daniel, or you literally doing something beyond the courses and the one-on-one and the coaching, there's so much more to you than the live streaming, honestly. And we've talked about, would you go back and start talking about like the brick and mortar that you have and teaching people how to be healthy and nutrition, et cetera, et cetera? Do you see yourself going there at all and adding that to the brand? Or do you feel like you dropped it, it's off, it's over, you don't want to go backwards?
No, actually, there is an idea that my business partner and I have, and it's about conscious content creators. And it's like, I believe personally that there is something greater than us. I believe that we do have a creator. I believe that, we weren't just made by accident. And I believe that we all have a path in our life. However, as a content creator, we're always, you can look on YouTube right now. There are so many content creators who are huge, who have 10, 15 million subscribers, and they left YouTube, right? And it's like, why? The burnout, the expectations, the demand, the consistent demand that the people who are actually paying them money were saying, you need to do it this way. And it's like, they've really pulled away from, over that time period, they've really pulled away, I believe, from their true morals, their ethics, and their values. And they weren't creating for the sake of pleasure. They were creating for the sake of entertaining other people and bringing in a big paycheck for that. And people can do that. That's totally fine. Not to say that I would never do that. However, I know that if I ended up going down that road, at some certain point in time, it doesn't become fun anymore. And so, it's like, what's the purpose of your content creation? Why do you even want to do this? In my coaching practice, it's like, I would dive deep with, why do they want to create change? Why are, all this stuff? And I would ask why? And usually somewhere between the fifth and eighth why, they would get mad at me and stand up just saying, stop asking me why. And I'm like, well, okay, what's the goal? Like, why are you doing all this? I'm just going to ask this one more time. Why are you doing all this? Because I just want to be happy. And that's the answer that it always came down to. And so it's like, for me, I do, and we will actually probably in the next, probably a couple of months to a few months, we will create a podcast all about being conscious about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how you're doing it. And then talking to other creators online who, again, big thinking, big feeling. And it's just like, we are all together and we all have certain goals, even though the goals may be a little bit different, but we all have certain goals. But how do we create content without losing ourselves? How do we create content while maintaining our morals and our ethics and our values, and sharing that with the world to help them to grow and to help them to develop and help them to level up? That's really my end goal. That's really what it comes down
I'm
to.
so glad you're going to do that. I think that'll be amazing. I've always told people, for me, I liken myself to a painter, where a painter just has to get the art out. Whether someone buys it or not, it's not my concern, right? My concern is I have to just get like the ideas out into the world for myself. I'm my own biggest fan. I will tell everybody that. Like, there's something beautiful about creating in the dark when you don't have a lot of followers. I think I'm just behind you in subscribers. And so it's like, there's something beautiful in not having a ton of people with this expectation of your content, because I can just be myself. I don't have to worry about AdSense or sponsorship deals yet. I can just create for the sake of creating because I want to. And there's something so beautiful about that. And I love being my own biggest fan because I'm doing it because I want to. I have to get the art out. Does that make sense? That's how I feel. Like, the video camera is my paintbrushes. Like, this is how I create. And I feel like in that authentic space, I'll find my tribe eventually, right? Like, there's no virality to it. I'm not getting thousands of people a day. It's growing, right? But it's, again, I had to detach myself, like you said earlier, detach myself from the outcome of like Do I want to be a YouTube star? No, that's literally not at all what I went into doing this. YouTube just happens to be a platform that works for me. And so I remind myself of that over and over again, that I'm like, I feel like I'm an artist trying to create something, and I'll find those people will be automatically magnetized to what I'm doing if they relate to it. And so that's the space that I'm in right now, of just reminding myself, this is the why. And I may not be making billions of dollars doing it ever, and that's fine, because I don't need that. I don't need billions of dollars either. More money, more problems. So to me, it's like I'm in the space of, I just want to be able to have the time to create, which is why I started to say no to clients. There's something so magical in a no, when we're not chasing that money, when we're not chasing that next client. When I was able to say no, because same thing to you. Yes, I was the person that would drop everything for a client. Like I may have a podcast that's due on Sunday that I have to put out and do all the things to. But if a client would come to me and say, hey, I need this, I would drop what I was doing for my own brand and focus on their stuff. And I realized, like, I have to stop doing that. At a certain point in time, I have to put the oxygen mask on myself and tell them, no, I can't help you. Or, hey, here's my editor, I can outsource it to her. Is that okay? And so there's something powerful in a no. Did you find that while you were creating this, starting to tell people no and not saying yes to everything, that actually helped you exponentially get the bigger yeses?
Absolutely. You have to have boundaries in your world, and you have to be able to say no. However, I have a referral, because one of the things that I love doing is helping other people. Well, if I can't help them directly, I'm still going to help them. And so I learned this in the natural health world, is, being a health professional, is that, you don't have to work with every client. However, in some regulated industries, you actually can't say no. So you actually cannot deny a client to come see you, or a patient to come see you. But what you can do is refer them out. And I've kind of brought that into my world, where it's like, I've got a bunch of people asking me, can I hire you to? Can I this? Can I pay you? Can I? And it's like, you actually can't. However, my good friend so-and-so can help you out. And I know their capabilities. I know what they're great at. I know what they're not great at. And it's like, I'll refer them out to specific pieces. So in a way, I'm still helping the individuals, but I'm able to say no. And that does come down to, yes, putting your own oxygen mask on first. And so thankfully, I'm at that place where I don't have to say yes. I get to say yes. Sorry. Yeah, I get to say yes. And it's like, I will choose those when it becomes a passion project. When it's like, okay, I've got some time in my schedule. I can see how long this is going to take and how many hours a week it's going to take. And man, I love this project. I just did a live production a few months ago for HBCU sports. And in my world, it's like, I don't know what HBCU means. I'm from Canada, and so we don't have HBCU up here. And when I met with him, and I was just like, I just got to ask, what does HBCU mean? Historically Black colleges and universities. And I was like, oh my gosh, you got to tell me more. And he gave me some of the, the history in the background. I said, wow, okay, this is a project I want to take on. And it's because it means something to me. It's not just a paycheck. It's like, that actually has value in my life, and more importantly, other people's lives. But I got to say yes. I didn't have to say yes. And to have that ability is just really empowering. And I think it does level up your personal game, because you get to prioritize the true things that matter, rather than you're running always on this constant wheel, right? And you're just like, food pellet, wheel, food pellet, wheel,
Mm-hmm.
food pellet, wheel. You get to say when and how and why, right? And it does change the game. It changes you mentally, emotionally, and and spiritually as well.
I'm so, I love you so much. You're the best. Honestly, I love what you're doing, and I love what you're growing. And I love that we're congruent, I guess, in sort of focusing on our own personal brands, because I want to help people, but at some point in time, I have to help myself too. And I feel like I can help more people once I can focus on this brand and then figure out what the next step is. So if people want to find you, is danielchi.live the best site to go to for all the things? What do you want to push out first?
Yeah, go to my website, danielchi.live. Take a look at some of the stuff that's up there. You know, it's got basic information, a few freebies and stuff like that. And also on YouTube, just following on YouTube and on Facebook. So if you just search Daniel Chi, it's there. YouTube handle is at Daniel CHILIVE at Daniel Chi Live.
I'll
And
put all the
don't
links. I'll
bother
put all the
checking my
fun links.
Instagram because I don't do anything on Instagram. So
We gave up on Instagram.
I'm
Are
not
we
putting
doing
up 30
TikTok?
pieces of content.